Hello, welcome to Sports Unplugged. It's me, Chris Brack, and I'm with my good friend Luke. And we will have our other friend coming shortly. Kev's having a few internet issues at the moment. So, Luke, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent. So, enjoy midweek. Do anything exciting?
Apart from doing uni work, and I was at work and was I at work watching Liverpool United? Yes, I was. Yes, I was at work whilst watching Liverpool United on my phone behind the till, so that was fun to watch.
Excellent. Jolly good. Right, so bit of a packed show tonight. So we will be looking at Liverpool versus Everton. We'll do that a bit later. We'll let Kev come in for that bit. Have a bit of a review of the Premier League itself, and then we're going to obviously I'll do my women's football piece because I quite enjoyed talking about women's football, and you're going to educate me on boxing, and Kev's going to help me. But let's start with probably the big story off the field of the week, which is Man United have a new manager, which is Ten Hag of Ajax, which, if I'm honest, I was hoping they'd go for Poch and not Ten Hag, because I thought Ten Hag Ten Hag actually looks like he's got a bit more about him. So I think as a manager, he looks a smart signing. A question for him is what's being sorted above his head, because I think that's always the problem with United. I think it's above his head is where it's rubbish. But what was your initial thoughts of him as a manager?
I thought it's probably the right appointment. The fact that all the ex-United players are all saying Poch is the guy, and the fact they've gone with Ten Hag shows that they're not listening to Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, who's on Monday Night Football. So it shows that they're going in a different direction, and he probably had assurances written on paper when he signed that contract that I want this done. This player needs to be sold. I want this player to come in. And since he's been appointed, chief scouts that have been there for 17 years have just gone, sacked, disappeared. So it does look like that some change at United's going to happen. But
it does. I mean, I believe
Gary
Neville's
here before.
But I think Gary Neville did mention that. I think a couple of the scouts who've gone recently, been there a long time, I think have been largely marginalised over the last couple of years. So it's a bit like, I think their influence on Man United's transfers have been next to none probably for the last couple of years. So although they're releasing them, they're probably not the people who are bringing in the players for structure. Ultimately, if he's been given the structure that he can work within and he can do the team he wants, that's great. I suppose for his sake, I hope Bruno Fernandes is a big part of his plans because they give him a new contract, that's the one thing I found out. I understand if he had a year left, but he had 3 years on his contract.
Yeah, good.
Wait till Ten Hag gets his feet under the table and they say, if you're not giving an extension, give him an extension. You'd like to think they probably are. They probably have asked. You'd like to think.
Yeah, would you like him involved? And he's gone.
But we don't know. Here he is. Hello, my friends.
Evening, boys. How are you getting on? You all well?
Not too bad, mate. About as late as Naby Keita's tackle on Tuesday night, that, mate. But less said about that, the better. We'll just talk about Mr. Ten Hag. So Luke thinks he's probably the right appointment. How do you feel about him? I think he's a better appointment than the rumoured Poch one originally.
It doesn't matter about the appointment if they don't get the structure around him right. And I don't care if you reincarnate Sir Bobby Robson with Sir Alex Ferguson and Bill Shankly. If your transfer committee or department or scouting network isn't right, you're cooked, you're goosed. And this is a good appointment if they get everything right. But there's so many ifs and buts. The best thing that's going to happen at that club for them this summer is the amount of people who are leaving in the summer. The amount of dross, deadwood, big wage earners that are going to be out the door, and they need to reinvigorate the squad. But they have to understand that this isn't going to be fixed in 2 or 3 windows. This is
this could be
this is a rebuild that's going to take at least 3 years.
According to Ralph, it's 6, isn't it? I mean, look, it's what they need.
Well, 3 years, 6 windows.
Yeah, Ralph literally came out swinging after the Liverpool game and was like, this club needs 10 new players, 10 need to go. And then when you sit down and look and you're thinking, 10 do need to go. 5 are out of contract, like Mata, Matic, Lingard. I think those are the notable ones that are out of contract.
There's quite a few on 1-year
Pogba.
contracts, and then there's the lads on loan. Martial, he may have a few years left.
Pogba's played his last game for United. Like, he's not playing for the rest of the season. I think Ralph's basically confirmed that he's out. So that's his last game done. But if you look on Twitter, United fans think that, we'll be back next year. And I'll be thinking, that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, we could be mocking, but let's be truthful. That was us probably pre-Klopp. Every new manager we had was gonna be get us back in 2 years. Every new manager we got was gonna make us league title winners or getting close to it. They never were because our structure behind the scenes was bobbins. So we could all mock, but it wasn't that long ago we were there. So Nagib in the comments has just said the United board are known for exposing the managers with lack of backing. Slight disagree.
I totally disagree.
It's not lack of backing because literally how they get the money is a bit questionable.
It's the type of people they bring in.
It's lack of structure. So as in, look at United. The United have spent as much as City have. They've just spent it in a scattergun approach. Now that is the United board not getting the right people above them in charge. But it's not like they're sitting there going, "No, we're not giving you any money."
Let's put it this way: Ten Hag is coming from a Dutch system, right, and an Ajax system that he's helped develop over 4.5 years, where Edwin van der Sar has brought players in to fit how he wants to play, and if that's the structure that Manchester United are going to go down, which is the right way to do things, it's the only way to flame and run a club, for God's sake. Then you set out. He likes playing 4-2-3-1. Right now, he likes playing open, attacking, expansive football, which United fans will absolutely love. Now, if he goes out in the transfer market, the first thing that he does is address the spine of the club. Then he's got half a chance of getting them competitive in the top 4 race next year. Yeah. He does.
I'd get the lads from Benfica for them straight away. Nunes.
He'd be one.
He's in for the 4-2-3 with pace of Sancho behind him. Yeah, that's what they need. He's a mobile number 9. We saw in the Champions League, the boy can finish, and he's the right profile. And says he's 22. It's a big step up for him. So maybe that's where you do look at. So listen, if they're going to keep Ronaldo, that's probably the good way of doing it. Which is you let Ronaldo lead the line with a lot of pace behind it, and you keep blooding Nunes in. So in another year's time, he's the main man. And he's got that nice hunger about him that he's ready for the next step. But he's mobile. He knows what he's doing. He's got Champions League experience. So, and he wouldn't mind playing, if he don't get top, playing Europa League for a year or so with United isn't going to bother him because it's still a step up from Benfica. But that's something like that. But if United are smart, they should be throwing a little bit at Ajax to bring Van der Sar with him.
Yeah, I think there's rumours of that United wanted Paul Mitchell to come in to work with John Murtough. If I'm Ten Hag, I'm going Darren Fletcher, get him off the touchline, off training, because apparently Ralph was fed up with Darren Fletcher taking part in training and him bellowing instructions on the sideline.
Yeah, but you don't know how true that is, do you? We had all that bollocks when we were rubbish. Misdemeanors about all our goalkeeper coaches. Do you remember John Achterberg was the worst goalkeeping coach ever? He wrecked every goalkeeper. And now you look at actually, he's still there. He's doing really well with Alisson, done really well with Keller. Maybe the goalies were just shit. But no one wants to admit that. It's just easy to blame. Every goal come out like the coach was shit.
The thing is, a club the size of Manchester United won't ever have a problem attracting players. That's just a given. No. And they've already proven in the past that they're capable of attracting players when they're not in the Champions League. And that will be the same this summer. But
the issue they're going to have, and Liverpool have been quite good at this year, and I think United have tried to start doing this now, is to stop being taken for a ride, where United going to go, it's 80 million. But the player's only worth 40. Well, it's 80 million. And United have gone, 80 million, we'll do it. And then they're stuck with players going, I can't shift him on now because no one's going to pay what I've paid for him. Yeah. Whereas they held off on Sancho. I mean, they still paid big money for Sancho, but they held off because they wouldn't go to a certain level. And I think sometimes you've got to do that. Liverpool have done it in the past. It's pissed people off. And we know it pisses people off. But Liverpool have definitely with certain players and certain clubs gone, that's the price. I'm not paying above that. Okay, well, we'll walk away. And we've walked away and gone short.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing and a curse because you're annoyed that you're short. But I think people have not got the reputation for Liverpool is don't tit about, because if you take the piss, they'll just go somewhere else. You know, the Werner one, I don't want to wait. I want to go now. Okay, fine, we'll go for Jota.
Yeah.
I think that's the bit United, which I think if they had Van der Sar, the benefit of Van der Sar as well is he's ex-United. He's an ex-United legend. So that gives you automatic credit in the bank and buy-in. And he's done the job somewhere else. So he's not doing a Rio Ferdinand saying, I want to be director of football when all I've done is done it on BT. It's not the real world,
the same.
is it?
I mean,
it's not the same. You know, it's like me saying I could do it because I did it on FIFA.
And the fact that they've ignored ex-players and gone, no, we want Ten Hag. We're not going to listen to Poch. Like, Ten Hag's our guy. It shows that there could be signs that they're going to start changing things, but proof's in the pudding.
Well,
like,
he's rejuvenated players. He's good at bringing young players through. Anthony is a hell of a player.
That's my fear to get him, because I think he's brilliant.
What he's done with Sebastian Haller is, nothing short of. Yeah, he's the type of he's the player that West Ham hoped he would be. But can he do it? It's all well and good doing it for Ajax in a league where outside of PSV and Feyenoord, and that's probably it in the Dutch league. With all due respect to them, doing it in the Premier League. I watched the Conte press conference, and Conte was dead on. He's like, "Look, you can do it in other leagues, but when you're doing it against, 8 really big, powerful, strong squads, and the other 12 sides that are in the league have a minimum of 120 million to spend every year they're in the league. It's a behemoth of a challenge. So, I mean, the United fans are going to have to be patient, but they're not known for that. But I think they're going to have no choice. They genuinely are going to have no choice.
Curtis J brings a good point. There could be a clause that says you can't go back and sign Ajax players for a certain amount of time. It's not unusual for that to happen. Quite a few clubs.
No, but I think if that would be the case, if he was bringing in someone from a club of a similar stature, Ajax are a selling club.
Also, it is their business model.
Yeah,
there might be a little bit of don't take the piss.
Yeah,
don't
come back and take 3 or 4 players. But
Don't come for Anthony and bid 30 million, because that sort of long-term haggling nonsense that does go on sometimes. So look, we'll see
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because look, they're too big not to get it right eventually. But it's just a case of, look, what happened this season, the 9-0 over the 2 games.
Great, isn't it?
It's fantastic, but it's really not going to be the norm enjoy it while it happens. And it was men against boys. The gulf in quality between the two sides is enormous. And I'll be honest, I think this weekend's game is going to be harder than the game midweek against Manchester United.
It's because Everton have sort of been in a bit of a scrap, most of the season. They've been scrapping very well, arguably. United, there is probably still a bit of the classic phrase, Kev, you love, but we're Man United.
Yeah, it's Ego FC.
Which is hilarious, because you're like, it's like, look, we went through it in the 90s, but we're Liverpool, we shouldn't be like this. Yeah, we shouldn't be, but we are. You are where you are.
Yeah.
So
I think the table won't lie at the end of the season, and if they finish in the conference spot, which is where I think they're looking likely to finish now, then and that in itself shouldn't be a big problem for them, because it'll be the exact type of thing he needs to develop the rest of the squad, while the first team that he wants to use Saturday to Saturday in the league are developing how he wants to play it in training.
Also, early rounds of Europe is the perfect time to blood in youngsters.
Yeah.
And
they have some good youngsters there.
Or rejuvenate squad players that you would. So the example we can use is Henderson. He was getting sold. He was going to Fulham. It fell through, and he's only getting time. The Rodgers originally was in the Europa League. And he played really well in the Europa League, got his confidence back, and forced himself back into the league side. I did really well. Yeah. And that's the benefit of Europa League football or Europa Conference football is.
So Harry Kane benefited from.
Yeah, Harry Kane. That's he goal his break. His big Spurs break was that. So sometimes it can be perfect for you.
Mm.
But also it's also a lower risk side for are they quite good enough? Because if you can't play
That's
very
it.
well in
You
Europa
need to
League
find that
conference,
out.
you're definitely not a Premier League player. So
Yeah.
we can ship you out on loan early rounds, or we can sell you. Go and look, this person, they're just not the level we need.
Yeah.
So move them on. But they get a bit of European experience. It looks good on the CV. Probably gets you a decent move. So anyway, let's move on from Ten Hag. Let's move on to the weekend's footy. So early kickoff, Arsenal versus United. This now has become quite a big game after Arsenal's impressive 4-2 win.
Yeah.
Impressive results. I wouldn't say an impressive performance, because I thought both sides played pretty dog shit football. But look, to be fair to Arsenal, they were given the chances. They took the chances. Chelsea without Rudiger.
Chelsea might be getting dragged into that race if they're not careful.
Well, I think if they lose this week, if they lose this weekend, I think the gap could get cut down to 2 points. I personally still think they'll finish third. I think they've given themselves just enough for cushion, but it makes them stay honest at least. So, Kev, how are you seeing this one, Arsenal Man United?
It's a good way to start off the weekend because there's some cracking games this weekend. I think Arsenal. Yeah, I think Arsenal win it 2-0 because I honestly think there's so many of those United players that have checked out. They're mentally fragile when they go one down. And I was impressed with what I saw of Arsenal against Chelsea from Smith Rowe and Saka and Nketiah, actually. But especially Smith Rowe. I like the look of him. And if you can rotate him around with Martinelli and get them both in a position where they're both fit and firing, they should be able to get a result. But the reason why there's such a scrap for top four is there's not an ounce of consistency with any of them. Yeah. So it could be one of those that bonkers saying 2-2, Avo saying 3-0 to the Arsenal. Marshall's there saying 2-1 to Arsenal. It's one of those. If United went and turned them over, it wouldn't surprise me because
Kev both exactly
2-1 United. You never know. It's one of those games that mistakes will decide. It'll be decided by mistakes, and whoever makes the fewest amount of mistakes.
Well, the team news coming out of it is Tomiyasu is 50-50 for them. No Partey or Tierney, they're out for a while. Varane and Ronaldo should be back. Maguire is benched.
Now, dropped, yeah.
Well, I don't think it's, but from what I've read, I don't think it's football reasons why he's being benched. I mean, the poor fella, listen, we all have horrendous moments in football. You know, he's going through a real bad form. But when you get a bomb threat sent to your house, you know, I'm not surprised his head's not on football. And it's actually mentality about football, and you need to give your head a fucking wobble.
It's a mentality across society that people. Yeah. I'll mention something later on, but there was a tweet that went out in a thread about the Mike Tyson incident with the guy going on a plane and it's inside a tin can trying to wind Mike Tyson up.
Oh, that's smart.
You know,
that's smart, isn't it?
And then gets a bit of a dig for his efforts.
Gets a bit of a dig.
I haven't seen this. I haven't seen any of this.
Well, the thing is, there was a quote from Tyson that, the gist of it was that people these days are too willing to go online and spout all this crap left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But also reality in the real world, you'd never do it. And that's what happened. And this is this thing with the stuff with Maguire. It's like,
look, you can slag a player off and say you don't like them and you think they're the worst player going. You know, we've all had that. But there's a line. That one's so far past the line you can't see it. You know, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But the thing is the way society is today, it's almost like you have freedom of speech to say whatever the hell you like and consequences be damned, including making threats of harm towards someone else. And it's only a matter of time before one-upmanship takes over and someone tries to outdo someone else. It gets to this stage. It is ridiculous.
Hey, John was saying Chris Maguire isn't going through a bad patch. His form's been crap for most of Man United career. He isn't good enough for a title challenge side. It's amazing City wanted him. Well, it's not amazing City wanted him because he was in good form at Leicester. But my point is, whether you go through a bad patch or you've been poor for all that time, sending a bomb threat to someone is
When he first came
ridiculous.
in to Man U, he was
I think giving him the captaincy was
because
I think
they were playing him in a low block.
Yeah.
And that's why he looked so great for England. Like when he played for England, everyone was saying,
but they're playing
wow,
a 3.
look how well he played.
Playing a 3, he's well covered, which is not a problem. That's just what you do. But what I would also say is giving him the captaincy probably wasn't the best idea, I would say.
No, I think it got given after De Gea basically said after the Newcastle game that, it was disgraceful. And Ollie was like, yep, you're getting the captaincy stripped, and I'll give it to Maguire.
But that then shows poor leadership because, he should, if a captain's come out and give you the opinion, let him.
Yeah.
Arsenal for Life's in the house, which is good to see. Let us know your prediction at Arsenal for Life. Avo's got you winning 3-0. I've got a 2-1 Arsenal, but listen, it wouldn't surprise me if it flipped the other way. It's going to be very, very tight. You got 2-2 draw. Okay,
Yeah,
it's a massive game. It's a massive game. It really is because
it'll be a great game to watch.
Yeah.
So,
and then great. Do you know what I look? All kidding aside, for a decade, this was the biggest game in the Premier League.
Oh, they were outrageous. These games when at the peak, they were brilliant.
Yeah, this was the Liverpool Man City of 10 years ago.
But there was more hate. There was more hatred in that one.
Yeah, more hate.
God, yeah. It was a proper. It was a proper hatred.
Arsenal for Life said 2-0, and he's put underneath 2 Arsenal. I kind of assumed you'd have put 2 Arsenal. I didn't think you'd back Man United. Next game, then we've got Leicester, who are 10th in the form table, against Villa, who are 16th, who have won only 2 of their last 6 games. Villa have literally decided to go on the beach. Gerrard and the Sun's got a big job shaking that up because there's quite a lot of players there who've got can't be arsed written all over them, as well as not being good enough. I've got 2-1 Leicester.
Same.
What have you got?
2-1.
I've got 2-1 Leicester as well.
2-1 Leicester. We'll move on for that because, be honest,
it's
a game I couldn't care less about.
I would go and watch the overlap for anyone who hasn't watched it. The one with Gary Neville, the long one with Gary Neville and Steven Gerrard.
I've only seen about 20 minutes of it so far.
Yeah, the extended one is out now. It is a good watch. Get a good insight into Gerrard and the forward thinking way he's looking at Villa.
When you watched that interview, Kev, were you like, yeah, he's definitely the one to replace Klopp? Or were you?
No, God, no. I don't. I. It's not a case of I think that. I don't think that anyway.
No, I don't either.
And it's not about. I don't think the manager to replace Klopp is going to come from unless Gerrard does an absolute madness in the next 2 years at Villa and takes them into challenging for honours and challenging for top 4, does a Leicester, then he's so far down my list of managers.
I had Nagelsmann as my top replacement.
Oh, don't start. I'll kick you off. I will literally kick you off this stream. If you, that will you and me will fall out over. Did you not see what he did against Villarreal?
Yeah, I know. I saw.
He thought he was playing FIFA.
I'm so
the absolute and total bellend that he is. Honest to God, he landed on his.
He's definitely a future United manager, then, Chris. That if he's not,
I kind of want to say because I despise him anyway. Oh, Chelsea, so I kind of despise the bloke anyway. So just goes to a club I don't like either. So it just makes my life easier. So listen, we'll save that for the summer. We'll have a who do we think will replace Klopp and who would we hate to replace Klopp? And I can talk.
Who's on the top of your list?
I'll talk all day about Nagelsmann, the Gila wearing tit. Anyway, Norwich versus Newcastle. So Norwich are 18th in the form table. Newcastle are doing really well. 8th in the form table, 3 wins, 3 draws. Pretty safe. Really good win against Palace for them. That lovely breakaway goal for them. I've got a 2-1 to Newcastle.
I've got the same 2-1 Newcastle, but there's another one that Newcastle are about now where they should be for the investment they've made. You know, they brought in good players and they spent good money on these good players. And I think they're a mid-table club at the minute with the players that they have. Norwich are looking like, they're just there to enjoy it. They know they're gone. It's just a case of announcing the date now.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Norwich got a point out of it, but I think Newcastle are on a good enough form. I mean, there was a late winner they had in midweek. You know, Bruno Guimaraes.
But they're playing better, aren't they, Kev? Whereas before,
they are.
He's getting these wins, but they were a grind. They were horrible. Whereas these, they are playing well. You know. So
I just think they're still a forward light. You know,
I mean, the talk is Wilson's back in training now. I think he's possibly going to be on the bench next week against us. Always the way. So that gives them something of an option. But yeah, I think that's the big one. I mean, there's talk of Ivan Toney as going back to Newcastle, which would be an interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Which would be an interesting one. Forget the off-field stuff. On the pitch is probably what they need.
I think what they'll do is go out and get Jonathan David.
That'd work.
You know,
I think they'll be out for a new manager.
No, they'll give him next year.
Thanks, Eddie.
I'm not a big fan of Eddie Howe. I think he has a level, but there's not a chance.
Season.
Yeah, of course.
How far can you get, and then you're gone.
You've got to, haven't you? Because I mean, he's took him over and he's took him to comfortable mid-table. Can't knock him, you know. Yeah. And he's done that. And to be fair to him, a lot of the players he brought in got injured. So you know, he did it with still quite a few average players in that squad. So look, you'll get
a good shot at it next year, but by the end of next year, they'll have expected results.
Cool. So just before to watch City Watford, John brings up this is a new rumor going around that Jesus to Arsenal. Which is
that's pretty advanced.
They do love buying off rivals. Although I did see an interesting stat about Jesus saying he scored, I think it was 53 goals, I think, for City in the Prem.
From his XG of 75.
Which basically says he misses far too many chances, which, to be fair, you didn't need XG to tell you that. So, interesting one, because obviously there was a lot of talk of Calvert-Lewin going instead. So, I don't think Arsenal buy both.
I think Gabriel Jesus makes more sense than Dominic Calvert-Lewin because of the way that Arteta wants to play it.
Especially if
Arteta's worked with them as well as City.
Yeah, but for me, he'd be the second of two strikers that they need to bring in.
Also, if City are getting Haaland, he knows his game time's even more limited.
It's gone.
I think City bring in Julian Alvarez from River Plate as well.
Yeah,
so he's going in the summer.
Yeah, so he probably knows his time's up because he can play wide, but I think he wants to. I think he's a bit like Theo Walcott. He wants to play through the middle because that's where he wants to play, which is fair enough. That's his choice.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's good enough to be the main man.
Yeah, 100 million Jan helps, Chris. It does help, but you've still got to get the players to do it.
Yeah,
you know, look at United, and look at a few other clubs who spent big money and balls it right up. So you know,
it's very easy to get it wrong.
They spent a lot of money over the last couple of years, and they're absolutely dreadful. So, above that 100 million, I think Kieran Trippier's injured. Well, he was a big outlay as well. Yeah. So you know, so we've got City against Watford. In his last 3 games against Hodgson, Pep has won 1, I believe, and lost 2. So there's hope for everyone. I've gone 3-0 City.
Give me hope.
I've gone 3-0 City because
I've gone 4.
I've gone 4. It's
Watford are the most out of form side. I mean, look, they have got niggles apparently. You know, Walker, Stones, and Ake are doubts, which means they'll just have to start Diaz and Laporte centre back.
What a shame!
So
look, Watford have the likes of Dennis and 1 or 2 others up front with pace that can cause them problems on the break, but City will just move. They'll just move Watford around, and it'll be a death by 1,000 paper cuts type of game.
So I think they will make changes because I think they'll need to make changes because they've got Madrid in the midweek.
Yeah,
well, Madrid have got I think Casemiro's out and I think Mendy's out. So Madrid have actually got some big injuries. The only thing that's going to help them with Madrid is I don't think Madrid have got a game this weekend because La Liga give all the Champions League sides the weekend off because why not?
Premier League, take note.
Yeah,
they won't. They make a deal with the devil, mate. And the TV companies, that's what you're going to get. So I think if City are going to make big changes, it will be in Leeds away if the result doesn't go for them. That's what I think. If it's like another Atleti where there's only a 1 goal in it, then you might see a lot of changes in the Leeds game, and that might make it a bit more difficult. I can't see anything.
No, it's not whether they make changes or not. It doesn't matter.
Not against Watford.
It doesn't matter against Watford. No disrespect to Watford. Plenty of disrespect to Watford. I couldn't care less.
Well,
they're a dog rough side.
They've won one game in the last 6 and they've lost 5.
Yeah,
You know,
we don't need them to win. We just need the draw. We just need a draw.
Just turn up for one game and just do the manager proud.
The best I can hope for is
Whyte.
Perhaps to just keep it to only a 2 or 3-0 loss.
Yeah,
just keep
City
the goal
will be
difference
needing to chase that goal difference down at some point.
Yeah.
And Watford's a pretty good game to start doing that.
Barry Devaney points out Villarreal got no fix this weekend. No, but it's been done in Spain for years.
Yeah, Spain have done this. When it gets to this stage, the semi-final stage,
they try and be a bit more accommodating.
They try to be as flexible as humanly possible,
which helps. But then they've got to play the fixtures later on in the season, and but they get knocked out.
But they only have one domestic cup competition, and even the King's Cup in Spain doesn't carry the same gravitas as the FA Cup does. So they're playing Europe, they're playing the league. That's it. You know what I mean? It's easy for them to fit in a proper winter break. You know, it's not the be all and end all to move the odd fixture here and there. Because the way the league look at it is the more success they have in Europe, the more successful the league is, the league benefits in the long run. The Premier League is just so bloody big, it doesn't care.
Money. That's all I'm saying.
You can't have it both ways, can you? You know, no. Right, in the late night game, informed Brentford, who are actually second in the form table behind Liverpool, versus Spurs, who are fourth in the form table. So this is, two really informed sides. Spurs, who did everything they could to get beat by Brighton because they were dreadful. And Brentford doing really, really well. Christian Eriksen. This is the Christian Eriksen derby. I mean, the talk is Spurs want to try and bring him back in the summer.
And Leicester.
If I don't know, it's the good thing is it's nice to see Eriksen A playing football and B just doing
well. But he's playing well.
He's really well. It's not there. It's not a token just that he's still there. He's brilliant for them. But he's always a brilliant player.
Yeah.
I've got 2-1 Brentford.
So have I. I think Brentford get a result there.
I think so too.
Purely simply because I, for whatever reason, I just think Spurs go into these games with an entitled chip on their shoulder, and they don't tend to work as hard as what they need to work to get these results, and they can look. Brentford are capable of making sides look silly, and they have the firepower up front with players in a bit of form. I just fancy him to get something. I just fancy him to get a win. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curtis Jay's got a 1-1. I'd be surprised. I actually would be a bit surprised if Brentford don't get anything out of it. They just hit for. If this fixture was 7 or 8 weeks ago, Spurs are battering about 3 or 4-0 because Brentford went through a spell they were just awful. But we'll see what happens. Cool. Right, we'll fire through these ones. South Coast Derby, Brighton versus Southampton. I've just gone 1-0 Brighton. Southampton are just absolute car crash at the moment.
I've gone 2-2.
Brighton can't score for toffee.
Southampton have a great record there. Southampton have never been beaten at the Amex.
Only won 1 of the last 6 though. Lost 4.
Yeah, I know, but Brighton haven't won in their last 7 at home.
True.
Yeah.
It's just going to. I think you see games like this, they mean nothing. They're very capable of throwing up the game of the weekend. It could be an absolute madness. It really could.
Cool. Right. So the one we all care about, other than our own game, Burnley versus Wolves. So just because, it's just want to get clipped up anyway, but that big win for Burnley against Southampton. I mean, listen, Southampton were very accommodating because they're garbage at the moment, but nice goals. Nice goals. Yeah. And Burnley playing a bit of footy, playing it just a bit different. And they did well. A bit
more expensive, weren't they?
They were. No Westwood, though. He's out for the season. And I've actually just found out, I believe the Burnley caretaker manager is from my neck of the woods. He's actually from Rugby.
Is he? All right.
Yeah, useless fact. But if they just mentioned it on telly, I was like, well, you don't hear that very often. So there you go. So there we go. I've gone for a 1-1. Now, Kev, there is a narrative going around that Wolves are on the beach. Have been on the beach for quite some time. And that Newcastle have played very, very well. interesting when you look at the form graph for the last 6 games, they both have identical records.
Yeah.
3 wins, 3 losses.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Perception isn't always the same. The comments here have got quite a few going 1-0 Burnley.
Yeah, and I'd be going down that road as well. I would have thought 1-0. I think Jose Sa is a brilliant signing. I think he's been one of the goalkeepers of the season. But
certainly the busiest.
Yeah, but I think Burnley played really well and played different. You know, they were a bit more attacking, and I'll be honest, right? I honestly don't think that removing Sean Dyche was. I think it wasn't a bad decision. I think it was just bad timing. They should have done it 2 months before,
probably.
You know, but they've been poor all season. You know, when you're playing Burnley, you're coming up against you're like, oh, it's going to be a physical one. It's going to be a tough one.
But everyone knows how to play it now. It's not the shock it was. A bit like Stoke were. Joe Stoke used to be the shock.
No, but they've always been hard. They've always been a physical, tough game every year. You know, that was one thing they always were. You would go and beat them, but you'd have to work for it. This season, sides have been just doing that, and they've been playing them, and they've been easy. They've been soft. And whether they just were sick and tired of hearing it, or they just had enough of him, whatever the reason was, they were much better against Southampton. They were much more alert, much more at it.
I've got 2 people saying they can't hear us on that, but I don't know if that's your device or ours because everything seems to be coming through clear in our setup.
Yeah.
Just say, guys, if you can't hear us, just jump out and jump back in and see if you still have the same problem. Seems to be coming through clear for us. So I'll just go on mute a second. I'll try it on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
While you guys can talk.
Luke, assuming this guy gets is going to get the job until the end of the season, do you think they have a chance of staying up?
I think so.
Or more different question, how important is that last draw for Everton?
I think that last draw for Everton has given Burnley hope that I think even with a point, I think Everton go in the relegation zone. I think on goal difference.
Yes, because Burnley's goal difference is 3 better than Everton's.
Yeah, thanks to that Southampton, giving gifts away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's given hope. I think Ben Mee's the player manager. I think he's recovering from injuries, so I don't expect him to be playing and managing towards the end of the season. But
no, I think it's that Jackson guy's in charge of Ben Mee's helping him. Yeah. I think he's helping him coach. Right. Ben Mee's not the manager. The talk is Ben Mee might make the last 3 or 4 games of the season, which for them's huge because he's a big key part of that. Interesting to Wolves though. There's Neves and Hoover are doubt, and I think Jimenez is still suspended.
I think Keanu Hoover has probably played his last game for Bruno Lage.
Doesn't like him, does he?
Doesn't like him, doesn't rate him, and doesn't like the ego that he came with.
Which again makes you think, wonder why Liverpool sold him.
Yeah.
Surprise.
He was a prospect.
Because Klopp don't take that either.
Yeah, he was a big prospect, and you look at the likes of Nico going on loan, there was a space there for him if he'd have stayed. And they didn't let Nico go on loan on a whim. It was
they would have known, player, to be fair.
Yeah, but they would have known that if the option was there, Nico probably would have gone in January, and they still let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think Wolves are going to be an interesting side. They're going to be interesting this summer to see what they can do, because I think they could have to fend off a few big offers for some of their players.
Yeah, John was saying
Ruben Neves is the main one.
John was saying, to be fair, Liverpool messed up with Hoover and Nico because neither are at the club. I'm not quite sure how you mean messed. Can you elaborate what you mean by messed up? Because Nico's only on loan, but we've seen he's a decent fullback.
Yeah,
is he a Champions League level backup fullback? Not sure. Hoover, Klopp saw him every day. So, and now the talk is Bruno Lage doesn't want him because of his attitude.
I think we've been proven right on Hoover. And
And we
I
got
think
30
Nico
and we got
will-
30 million for Hoover, as Kev Ball points out. 30 million pound for a player that barely plays you.
I think
Yeah,
Nico will stay
for
at
me.
Fulham permanently.
Yeah, I think that it's looking like
10 million.
Do you remember the deal we did for Robbo when we let Kev Stewart go the other way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of ballpark figures that we're going to be looking at with Nico and Carvalho.
Yeah, would make sense.
Very similar.
There's some exciting young right backs around at the moment. We've got what's his face?
Calvin Ramsey from Aberdeen. It's been
Aberdeen. And also there's Spence,
Yeah.
who's on loan at Forest, who's on loan but isn't wanted by his parent club. Looks decent young right back. So maybe Liverpool have got their eye on a young right back and gone.
I think it's Calvin Ramsey seems the most likely person coming in, and he's 18.
And to be fair to Nico Williams, he's getting in the Wales squad regularly. If Wales qualify for a World Cup, he wants to be going to a World Cup. I don't blame him. At his age now, he's played for Liverpool. He's got a title winners medal under his belt. He's got to play in the Champions League. There's the platform for him. Go do a Stephen Warnock and have a really good career. Stephen Warnock ended up playing loads for Blackburn and had a decent Prem career for himself.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want for him. So, right, let's move on. Let's move on anyway to more fun games. Chelsea West Ham. Chelsea, who are at home and have won 7 of their 15 Premier League games this year at home, which shocked me because that's
that's a stat. I did not know that.
No, I heard that today, and it was like, wow, that's not as impressive as I thought. Because
he's lost as many home games as Mourinho did.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost many. I think a lot of them are draws, to be fair.
No,
and then West Ham,
I think Tuchel's lost 5 home games since he was Chelsea manager, and Mourinho only lost 5 in his 2 spells.
And then we have West Ham, who have got a massive game midweek in the Europa League semi-finals, and they have 1 fit centre-back in the entire club. Zuma is out, Diop is out, Ogbon is out for the season. So the debate now is, do they go a back 3, where they use Cresswell and Young Johnson, or do we drop someone like Souček or Rice as a centre-back to keep it as a 4, which then would mean bringing Mark Noble in. So I don't think West Ham are going to rest many, because I don't think they've got many people to rest.
I think
they've only got many options.
Academy kid.
Well, they did with Ben Johnson, so I think he's the option at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see. I've gone 2-1 Chelsea just simply because West Ham got no fit defenders, and
I'm going to go with the draw. I think Rudiger's still out for Chelsea.
Yeah,
Chelsea haven't looked, great. I think if they're not careful, they're getting dragged into this top 4 race, whether or not they like or not, because they just don't look consistent. They just, like the team against Arsenal, I thought was very, I wouldn't say disrespectful, but Malang Sarr Alonso on the left and Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Kante in the middle just didn't look very good. And
the chat
I think Chelsea will drop points this weekend, and all it takes is Arsenal or Spurs to win, and Chelsea are looking ever closer to getting dragged in. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw.
So we've got 2-2s, 1-1s, and 2-1 Chelsea so far. Barry Devon makes a good point. Big time for West Ham this, but although they need to rotate, and I think he also makes. I think John Owen makes a really good point. I think it was earlier. Avo, sorry. The big problem with Nico was he's always compared to Trent, and that is the issue.
Yeah.
You're always compared to him, and that's always really difficult. Draw all day. Kevin Ball's got 1-0 West Ham, so we're all expecting a tight one. But
West Ham.
You got 2 on West Ham. Okay.
Yeah. I look at Chelsea's back. I look at the way Chelsea are playing. They're giving up chances, and Mendy does not look the same keeper as he did in the first half of the season. They're giving up silly chances, and with West Ham, Antonio's had they've had a good week's rest. They've had a good week's break. I think they'll look at this as a template for playing Eintracht Frankfurt, and they'll have a go. They got nothing to lose. It's a London derby as well. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to want to roll over for anyone. So
someone say to me, no mention of Conor Bradley. He's a kid. I mean, I'm not being funny.
I think
Conor Bradley.
Yeah,
he's only 17, 18. I don't think he's quite ready yet for being the backups to Liverpool. Me personally, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Quite happy. Things like that, I'm happy to be wrong on. Right, final one, and then before we have a conversation about our sponsor, just quick scoreline. Monday Night Football, Palace versus Leeds.
I can't remember.
2-2.
Oh, 3-2 Leeds.
3-2 Leeds. I've gone 2-1 Palace.
I've gone 2-2.
Excellent.
Desmond.
So between the three of us, we'll get one of the results right. So there we go. Everyone's sorted.
Unless the floodlights fail and
Don't start, Kev. Don't start. Right, Kev. So IP Vanish, did you know that browsing online using incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Without security, you may as well be giving away your private data to hackers, advertisers, and any other prying eyes. IP Vanish is a VPN which will make it easy to stay truly private and secure. IP Vanish helps you safely browse the internet by encrypting 100% of your data. This means all of your private details, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be shielded from the wrong hands. Even your physical location. IP Vanish makes you virtually invisible online. You can use IP Vanish on unlimited devices without sacrificing speed. That's a computer, your tablet, your phone, or even devices like a Fire Stick if you're streaming media. You can use this at home or public, so don't go online without IP Vanish. So IP Vanish are going to give you guys an incredible offer of 70% off their yearly plan for the listeners, and that's with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So basically, you're getting 9 months for free. IP Vanish is super easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're instantly protected. You won't even know it's on. So you can stop sharing what you're streaming or looking at with the rest of the world. And these guys are rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. So if you're interested in IP Vanish, please go to ipvanish.com/daytrippers to get the exclusive offer for Daytrippers. There we go. So thank you very much to IP Vanish for sponsoring us. Right. Let's talk about the big one then, the derby. As Neil Atkinson of the Anfield Rap says, the only derby that is named by a number, because I've never known any other fixture. They tell you how many times this fixture's been played. Don't know why it's a thing, but it still is. So, how are we feeling? Form guide-wise, Liverpool, 5 wins, 1 draw, top of the class, just slightly ahead of Brentford. Everton, mid-table 11th, 2 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. Just about got themselves a 1-1 with Leicester. Created some chances against Leicester. Richarlison just missed 2 big chances, but eventually got the equaliser for them. But defensively, Everton did a bit of a shambles. Now, news coming out from our blue brethren is Calvert-Lewin out, Gomez out, Van der Beek out, and Lampard is saying they may have to rest Yerry Mina because he's only just come back from injury. I'll be amazed if they don't start Yerry Mina in this game. Kev, how are you seeing this?
I think we've gone through this season taking receipts from last year, and there is no bigger receipt than the game that we played against them last year. And I think
both of them,
the player, but I think they'll want to dish out a proper lesson. And the one thing you can say about us in the last 2 games, the performance level has been unreal.
Just clicking into gears at the right time, almost like it's planned.
I'm just hoping that I expect a win. I expect at least a 3 or a 4 goal margin in it. I just hope we come out of that game with no injuries.
Yeah. Well, Klopp was very clear, wasn't he, with his post-match stuff, Luke, saying, you know, he doesn't mind if his game logs, it's within the laws of the game. That is definitely a message to the referee, which I've seen blue social media. They're not happy about it, but we saw with the United game, didn't we? It got to 4-0. There was about 5 minutes to go. Liverpool just passed the ball around, and it went to kick fest. And Liverpool didn't want that.
He was like, this kick showed a bit of passion. I was like, he's kicking lumps out of players.
I mean, to be fair to him, 5 minutes after the game, when they did the post-match analysis, he did say he went over the top. He basically went into fan mode.
Yeah.
But if we flip it the other way, loads were giving John Joe Shelby loads of praise when he got himself sent off and told Ferguson to go F himself. You're like, everyone, oh yeah, great. Be going, yeah, great, brilliant. Yeah, you've shown a bit of passion there, and you've told Ferguson where to go, but without a 10 men, mate. Smart.
Yeah, you just got a 3-game ban.
I get what the English are trying to do because obviously he doesn't want Liverpool taking the piss out of his club, and I get that. He just went over the edge the wrong way. That's where they need a bit of a leader to go over to and say, like, that's not the way to do it. But we will see. Thiago can't be near this game. I think he might be.
I think he will be.
I think he will be, because the interesting thing was the post-match. Now, Salah doesn't say much in post-matches generally, but when he said, you haven't had a home derby yet, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, I think normally Klopp in the home derby, Kev, he just does some mental sides. Do you remember the 5-2 where we went, Lallana, Shaqiri, Origi, went seen for months, and they all started? You went, what's going on here?
He's capable of doing an absolute...
I don't feel he's going to do it for this one, because I think he's going to try and get a bit of a rhythm going for Villarreal. But you may have spoke proudly saying, we think most games now, it's 3 or 4 changes, not wholesale now. And I think there are certain players now, Alisson's, Van Dijk's, a little bit are just going to be going, you're just going until there's a real red line reason you can't.
As long as it's look, we'll know what City have done by the time we kick off.
Yeah.
And irrespective of that result, we have to win all our games in the league. As soon as a point is dropped, everything has changed. Everything changes. But until that happens, or if that happens, you're going to be going as strong as possible without doing anything to put players at risk of muscle injury. So I expect us to go fairly strong, not massively strong, but I expect us to go fairly strong. I don't expect Everton to be able to live with us for the first 20 minutes. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing how we attack this game, because the difference between what I said earlier about this is going to be harder than the Man United game. Everton have spent a large chunk of this season on the back foot and defending and trying to stay in shape. Manchester United haven't done that. It's alien to them. They can't do it.
The other thing is, though, a lot of those United players are going. So I think there's a little bit of, I don't give a shit. I think for a lot of those players, it's the reality is now hitting of this could actually happen. We can't afford this to happen. We don't want this to happen. So I think that's what we need. Luke, name me a side. Where does Reece Williams fit in? You're never living the Reece Williams joke down, just so you know.
Water boy. Even though that he did score a banger in training, apparently. It was going all over Twitter saying it.
Good for him.
Yeah, so no, I think it'll be the strongest lineup possible. I think the only person that won't be involved is Roberto Firmino. Apart from that, it's going to be pretty much full strength.
Give it the 11 then. What's your 11?
Alisson, Trent, Matip, Virgil, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Keita, Salah, Jota, Mane.
Okay. I have a slightly different team, so that's good. Kev?
Alisson, Trent, Konate, Virgil, Tsimikas, Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Salah, Mane, and Jota.
Oh, okay. So I've gone with Ali, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robbo, but Tsimikas wouldn't surprise me, Keita, Henderson, Thiago, Salah, Jota, Mane.
No Fabinho?
I feel like they want to just keep rest his legs for Villarreal.
Okay.
Because we've seen with Fabinho, when he gets that red zone or gets tired, it's a real drop. And Henderson could play the 6 and has played it. We are ultimately playing a side that is form-wise 11th in the league and 1 point off relegation, so you should be able to rest him. I think Fabinho will come on.
Kevin Paul is an interesting lineup there. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down that route.
Gomez, Konate, Van Dijk, Costas, Henderson, Jones is an interesting one. Naby Keita, Salah. I think we're all pretty much agree Salah, Jota, Mane, because I think Diaz has played quite a lot of games back to back.
Yes.
Mane's a bit of a machine, but I think this is one of those games, a bit like City away. You go with what you know.
Yeah,
it's a perfect game for Jota. We need a better snide.
Jones
is the interesting
a local lad in this game. I wouldn't be surprised because he's been getting minutes here and there. And
my feeling with Jones is he gets Newcastle. I feel like they want.
No, I think if he was going to get anyone, it'd be this one.
I feel it's this one. The reason I feel this one is because I think there will be decade tackles. I think there will be a bit of silliness. And I
There
think
might
that's where
be.
they want the experience of a Henderson, a Thiago,
It would
Robinson,
not surprise
who
me
won't
if
rise to it. If Henderson Jones is a young lad, young local lad, with sort of lots of young players, they fall into that trap quite easily. I just don't think Klopp wants that
But
silliness.
I just don't think it's anything new playing against Everton for him. He's done it all through through all the age groups. He's done it, and he's done it against some good young under-23s and under-18 sides that Everton have had, where they would have tried kicking lumps out of him, and I think it would mean enough to him to be able to manage his way through the game.
Listen, if he starts, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. The good thing is, the three of us there have picked a slightly different lineup. He won't really bother with whichever one got picked. And if it was slightly different again, you go, well, there aren't too many players you go, oh, Jesus wept. Why have you picked him? Most of it's like, yeah, okay. And then you look and go, well, there'll be three good lads to bring off the bench. Plus, there is always the 5 sub thing in the next game as well, which can also be used to manage minutes, which is helpful.
But I think, look, we'll
did
talk about that.
Did I mention I'm going the game next week?
Yeah, no, you didn't. But
did I tell you?
Well, you've told me all right, but I don't think you've told everyone else.
Well, I've just been winding you up.
You're going to another game?
I'm going to the Villarreal game. Yeah, my brother is stuck in work, so I've got his ticket.
I will be going to a game next season, but it won't be this season. So.
Yeah. So listen. So in terms of Everton, so there's a bit of talk of Everton. Do they go to a back 3 because they've done that before in bigger games? I think they did it at home against City. Does Yerry Mina play? I'll be amazed if he doesn't. Do you continue with Richarlison as the one-man striker, which I don't think suits his game? But it would mean playing Rondon up front. But at least that gives them something to play off. As much as he's not popular, I think Iwobi's done quite well since they've moved into centre mid.
I think they'll play 5-3-2.
He looks a better centre mid, I would say, than a winger.
Yeah, I think they'll play 5-3-2. Seamus Coleman will probably play as a right-sided centre back. I wouldn't be surprised if Delph plays.
Delph played in the last game, didn't he? The one person who didn't play against Leicester but was on the bench was Decore.
I think they'll want as much experience in that side as possible, and it might just be because look,
Alan Delph Decore seems to me like
the
dogs of war, but the physical midfield, because Decore gives you legs up and down the pitch, and I think he's a very good player, Decore.
They were a dodgy decision away from getting a point off of Man City.
Yeah,
granted it was at home, but I mean, the more experience he can put out on that pitch, the better chance that he'll have. And they'll park the bus. I can definitely see them playing back 5. They'll play 3. Richarlison will drop in around midfield, and if you're right about Rondon will play as a target man and try to play everything off him.
Yeah, it's just because Everton is a point enough for them. Maybe.
Yeah,
Lampard
it might be enough because they're not expected to get anything. Let's be honest.
Rico 63 is in the house. Our Everton friends. Good to see him in the chat again. Give us your score prediction as well, please, mate. It'd be good to see. Nice to see some of the regulars coming back. It's lovely.
Yeah, I think
my concern,
once we get the first one, they have to get something. They have to try to get something.
Well, I think we need to probably repeat the United performance, which is you kill it in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
which helps. My worry is if they play the likes of a Holgate, who he's just got that temperament of you'll see an absolute horrific flyer in. And
referee's going to have to be
that's more my worry is making sure nothing like that kicks off before it does. I'm strangely quite relaxed for a derby. I mean, derbys are normally quite on edge for them because they're like the Man United games. They're just games you get on edge for because you don't want to lose them. But I'm a bit like,
that's
the only thing I worry about. I'm always
like this version of Manchester United and this version of Everton. They don't get you nervous. They just don't. I mean, at a normal time, Everton are going to be 8th, and they're going to be capable of winning games. But this version is truly horrific.
Give us a score prediction, Luke.
3-0.
And you know the rules.
3-0. Jota twice and Salah once.
Good man. Kev?
4-0. Man brace. Salah brace.
Okay. So, problem now is I had 3-0 as well.
I just
So I
don't
had-
see them scoring. So
I had 3-0. I had Salah, Jota, and I had a Van Dijk goal, and I had an Everton red card. So that's my only slight caveat to it. I see an Everton red card coming.
Yeah.
Someone spoke Divock has to score. He wouldn't surprise me because if Bobby's not trained, he will be on the bench. And that would be quite poetic. Divock coming on scoring in his last Merseyside derby. Let's face it, he's got some record in derbies, like especially at Anfield. He has got some. We could probably do a show on that.
One more big moment left in him. I'm convinced he's got one more.
I'm hoping it's the one that wins us the league. Touch wood. That's what I'm hoping.
I'm hoping it's in Paris personally, but
Paris against City, please.
Yeah, that's the one. So cool, but before all this nonsense about derbies, there's a big game at midday, which I'm going to, which is the Liverpool Women up at home midday against Sheffield United. This is the trophy lift. This is the thing I've been waiting for all season. And yes, Kev, I'm finally relaxed. So I should be quite chilled for once. Yeah. I absolutely can't wait. So I'm quite glad to move the game to 12 o'clock, though, so it means locals can still go to both. Even with the trophy lift, it'll be done by 3:30, which then means you've got plenty of time to get over to Anfield or get home to watch the game. I will just go to the pub across the road because it's much easier. But yeah, I must admit, I've been really, really looking forward to this. It's been like the countdown to Christmas for me. 2 weeks of waiting for, seeing the game started, getting to see the players lift the trophy. It's actually the first trophy I will have seen Liverpool Women lift, because last time they lifted a trophy, I actually wasn't following the team as closely.
Yeah.
So it's a nice first. It'd be nice. It'll be the first physical trophy lift I've seen in person since the FA Cup in 2006.
Yeah, the Guard of Honour will be interesting.
It will be, yeah, because there's quite a few ex-Reds, and there's an ex-Liverpool manager who he's not my favourite person. To be fair, most of the ex-Reds who play for Sheffield, I have no real sort of issue with. They came and play for a club, give the best, So some left very on good terms, some left not so happy. So, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was a bit of it is a derby, but it's nice to go into a game going. The result doesn't matter. The manager's saying all the right things. We're undefeated in 19 league games, so he wants to try and win the last 2 and go there. But thoughts and prayers do go out to the Liverpool Women's manager, Matt Beard, who his father sadly passed away. I believe it was yesterday. So that's, thoughts and prayers go to him, because, that's a horrible thing to have to lose your father. So hopefully,
strong connection to Millwall. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. I think Matt Beard's brother played for Millwall, but I think he was involved. I think Matt Beard's dad
was involved with the club, wasn't he?
The youth side, the coaching side. So so big football connects fan. Then obviously his son Matt has gone into do fantastically well in women's football for Liverpool, for West Ham, for Boston Breakers. Did well for Bristol as well. So a very big football heritage family. So it's great. So I'm all excited. The little one's looking forward to it. It's been the ideal weekend for my daughter. She turned 9 today. She's got a party tomorrow, and then she's got a trophy-less Sunday. I mean, I think you call that a Carlsberg weekend for her. It's great.
Well, yeah, for her, it's going to be amazing. I mean, the thing is, you got that at 12. I've got Formula One. And it's a weird one.
I'll mute you if you start this nonsense.
You can mute yourself for a while, because tomorrow's
you've gone from a high to this.
Tomorrow's the first of the sprint races for the season, and I watched the free practice today, and it was in the wet, and the amount of cars that were spinning off was unreal. They couldn't. Whatever the thing is with the new design of the cars, they're struggling to get the grip with wet conditions, and this is the first race in Europe, and Imola is a historic track. It's just one of those great races. But tomorrow you've got the sprint race at 2:30. But before that, at 11, you've got the free practice, and you've got it could be anything tomorrow. Bracky Jr. on the lash tomorrow. Yeah, definitely.
She's making sure I get the trainer.
Yeah. And the main race then is on Sunday, but the sprint race tomorrow determines the pole positions or determines the starting positions for the race on Sunday. So it'd be worth watching that at 2:30 tomorrow. And then tomorrow night you've got Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. Now, I only seen the weigh-in today. Fury's weighed in 12 pounds lighter than he did for his last fight, 264.8 pounds. And Dillian has weighed in at 253 and a quarter. He's up 6 pounds on his last fight, on his last win against Féileacáin.
What's that in old money, Kev, in stones?
18 stones.
18, yeah, Dillian would be pushing 18.
18 stone, 1 pound, and Tyson's 18 stones, 8 pounds.
Yeah.
God,
I personally think Dillian is coming in too big.
Is this because
that's a good weight for Tyson?
Yeah,
because of his height.
Tyson's very quick for heavyweight. He's very quick, isn't he?
Yeah, but because of his height, he's 6'9".
That reach as well. It's not going to be as competitive as people think. I think Tyson's just going to box him, get a 12-round decision.
Look, I'm pretty novice with because of boxing, but with Dillian Whyte and you guys thinking he's a bit heavier than he should be, is this because of the purse he's getting or lack of purse? Because he's definitely not. He's done very little media. I think
this is still the biggest payday of Dillian Whyte's career.
You get 10% of me. That's all. That's all the paycheck I'm getting.
No, this is still the biggest paycheck of Dillian Whyte's career, and it's 94,000 at Wembley. It is a huge event, which is a real shame because the card is an absolute pile of crap.
yeah, it is.
So the technical term for it.
The technical term is pile of shit, but it's
it's not worth paying pay-per-view money for that.
It's embarrassing that the
25 quid on it as well.
It's 25 quid, €30. It's a good main event. Let's not beat about the bush. Dillian Whyte has more than earned this title shot.
About time as well.
Yeah, politics has kept Dillian away from a world title. Plus, he took risks in fights that he didn't need to take. This is apparently Tyson Fury's last fight. If you believe If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you.
How big's it?
It's got a good span. Let's put it that way. It's the scary thing is the biggest fight of the year is probably going to be in the summer with AJ and Usyk.
Usyk too.
Not for the reasons that people think. It's mainly because of the profile that Alexander Usyk has now. That can he do what he's doing in Ukraine and come back and train and be in physical shape, mentally and physically, to fight Anthony Joshua in the summertime? It's going to be unreal thing to see. But look, if people want to watch it, it's on BT Sport, box office. TalkSport are carrying the fight live on the radio for free. It'll be on BT Sport next week. As a normal fight. So up to each individual. But tomorrow night you've got a UFC event as well, Luke. Yeah.
Yeah. UFC's back. I've not really.
It's a strawweight women's title, isn't it?
Strawweight women's event. Jessica Andrade has dropped down again. I think she lost the last bout, so she's gone down again to fight at strawweight against an up-and-comer. I've not really seen much of the card because I watched the card last week. Worst card of the year by far. It was a horrible card, boring card as well. So they've not really paid much attention because the UFC's let me down. Because usually their cards have been at a particular level, and last week they took a massive dip off.
So it doesn't happen often, to be fair.
Bonkers there however, there are rumours that they're coming back to London.
Yeah, London or Liverpool?
I think they're going to have one in London. I think it's going to be Leon Edwards Usman 2. That's one in London. Apparently, I saw something on Twitter that Darren Till was offered to fight Jack Manson like the week after in England. So you could see UFC 277 in London, and then you'll get a fight night in Liverpool probably the week later, which is a shame. I want to go, but I probably can't afford it because UFC tickets are far too expensive.
I was going to say.
Bonkers has an interesting question there about Ricky Hatton apparently coming. Yeah, you did hear that right. 43 years of age, Ricky Hatton looking
Probably
to
broke.
come out of retirement to fight against Antonio Barrera, I think. No,
I mean, Ricky Hatton used to balloon up and down when he was at his peak.
You're like Paddy Pimblett of boxing.
Yeah, but you get away when you Paddy's age or when Ricky was younger. But that caught up with him. It just feels. Why would someone like that get signed up? Isn't that just he's just going to get hurt? Isn't he?
if it's an exhibition fight and it's just a payday, I can understand it. I don't agree with it, but
no.
The thing is, you don't know what the money side of the fighters are in.
No,
you don't know how much money he's pumped into the gyms and the promotion company that he had and everything else like that. It's one of those. I would be amazed if it's taken seriously, but it could be a case that he'll struggle to get a license.
That's what I was thinking.
The other side of it is, if he does get a license, whether the fight would be in the UK, I seriously doubt it. I think it would be something in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, you look at Floyd Mayweather is looking to fight again. But Floyd, you watch any interview with Floyd Mayweather, he keeps himself in excellent shape.
Oh yeah,
even though he's not a proper boxer anymore, he's still physically in good shape. Yeah, he's physically in good shape.
Yeah.
Ricky Hatton, even when he's in the corner, he just looks like he needs to drop another 2 stone. And for someone of his age,
he's coming back. He must.
Yeah, I just think it's
sad, that though, isn't
it? It is, but it's also a case of, look, as long as it's an exhibition, 8 rounds, 10 rounds, and is a good solid undercard that would sell it, then fine, no problem, good luck to him. I hope he gets a good payday out of it, but it's not something for me. Boxing is going through some stuff at the minute, so it's
Jake Paul calling out MMA fighters with one eye, no knees.
I've seen that.
I saw Michael Biston. Also, Michael Biston's reply was, "Why I'm about the same height as you? Why would you be asking me? Shouldn't you be looking for someone smaller?" Which was like.
Or if you want to fight a former UFC champion, free agent, there's one called Anderson Silva, which you won't take because Anderson Silva will box your head off. Yeah. So it's just picking fights like with people with like one knee, one eye. Taking easy.
Bisping is still to rip his arm in half.
He probably would actually, because he wouldn't do. He'd make sure he would. Right. So just before we go, for a bit of fun, and I haven't told either of the guys about this, because I was thinking about this in the car. I thought it'd be an interesting one. So, Kev, and have a think, and the guys in the chat can do the same. Name me an ex-Premier League player you would like to go for a pint with, but has no connection to Liverpool. And just a bit why, just for a bit of fun. So I'll let you guys say. Mine will be Ian Wright. I would quite enjoy going for a pint with Ian Wright. I thought he was a brilliant footballer anyway. But whenever I've seen him post-retirement, I just find him interesting. I find him very likeable. I like him as a pundit. I think he's very good at raising awareness in the women's game. And I just generally think he's a good bloke. I just think he'd be great to go for a pint with. I think you'd learn a lot of him. So
you're caught off guard.
I know. I like to do it again. Kev's done this to me now and again, and Kev will probably get rid of something.
He's related to Liverpool, so it can't be a former pro.
Can't have any connection to Liverpool. So Ian Wright, to be fair, has no connection to it. He's Arsenal's legend.
So I mean, can't be like a
no. Tom Boland, Roy Keane. Roy Keane will be an interesting pint. He'd be fun. Yeah. I also think Roy Keane's actually
it wouldn't stop at one, and he'd be my choice, Roy Keane.
Roy Keane. I also think though. I think Roy Keane is probably hilarious to go out with.
Yeah,
he's got. I think he's very dry humour.
I
think he'd be good. Probably good.
I'd say Roy Keane does an offer. I mean, Roy Keane's from the city. I live out in the county in Cork.
Oh, Ian Wright is a Liverpool fan. That's fine. Maybe a Liverpool fan.
That is 100% true.
But he's got no connection to Liverpool in terms of he never played for us.
yeah.
He's never.
Yeah.
Look, for me, it'd be Roy Keane, no bother, because I'd love to talk to him about the work that he does, the stuff that he does away from football in Cork with some of the charity organisations that he does. Just what makes him tick outside of football. You know what he kind of stuff he puts up for the camera.
Get that off the screen. No way.
Gary Neville, and it wouldn't end well.
He just contradicts himself all the time.
I'd like to go for a bed with Merv Hughes. Oh, good luck with that.
No, yeah.
I mean, listen, the other person I'd love to go on for pint with, but he's felt sadly no longer, is Shane Warne. But I'm sticking to footballers. Non-football.
Yeah, look,
it would have been Shane Warne.
For me, it's easy. It's Roy Keane. No bother.
Roy Keane for Ronaldinho, because you'd have some party come to Barry. Yeah, I think you'd be right.
Good point.
Any ex-Brazilian.
A few say Micah Richards would be a good laugh. He probably was. I think he's only 33. He has to retire young because of his knees. So, but yeah,
that's a new name in the chat, by the way. I don't know who that is, but Roy Keane is connected to loads of Liverpool players. This is true.
He has.
This is true. Hell of a player. Penny Dinners. Yeah, Stefan, you're dead right. Penny Dinners is the organisation in Cork that Roy Keane does an awful lot of work with.
Bonkers has said that Seamus, he's not an ex-Premier League.
He's a massive Liverpool fan.
He's a massive Liverpool fan. He's just massive generally, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's a Gaelgore as well. He speaks Irish very fluently.
Yeah. Come on, Luke. We've delayed enough for you.
I'll probably go. What does it have to be Premier League or can it be any professional
football?
Well, I said Premier League. Go on then. Give us your answer first.
You're the Wrexham owners, didn't you?
Because growing up, I was a goalkeeper back then, and I thought that he was just different gravy, and I'd love to sit down and go for a pint with him about his career.
Who'd you say? Sorry,
Iker Casillas.
Oh,
hell of a keeper. Very underrated keeper.
Yeah, I think because he played for Real Madrid, everyone just assumed, it's only Real Madrid. But when you look at,
I'd love to know what his feelings were when he basically got bombed out.
But then he started Champions League final when he was like 19.
Yeah,
it's like,
I think that was 2002.
Which is ridiculous. I still remember the Real Madrid game. We battered them 4-0.
Yeah,
and the reason it was only 4-0 was Iker Casillas was unbelievable. The saves he was pulling off. This is not even a Liverpool fan. It could have been 8 or 9.
He got standing ovation that night, didn't he?
He was unreal, and that's where you're going. I don't care if he has short sleeve shirts and people think, just because he was an unbelievable keeper.
Yeah. His save against Robin in the World Cup as well.
Yeah,
when it looked like that it was going. I thought,
not Premier League, but to be fair, it's a good choice.
It is a good choice. Get over the language barrier. I thought you'd have gone for the ring.
That I started being a goalkeeper because it was that World Cup in 2010.
Who would be your Premier League goalkeeper that you'd want to talk to?
Oh, Premier League goalkeeper. I don't know. Oh, that's difficult.
Neville Southall because he'd clean up afterwards. Let's keep it nice.
I reckon Joe Hart would be absolutely mental.
A new one, United Spurs of America. I'm new here too. There we go.
Welcome into the chat, mate. Nice to have you in.
Welcome to the chat. Probably Joe Hart because he's mental.
Joe Hart. Oh, Barry Derry's got a good one. Rob Green seems sound.
Rob Green talking about his time at Chelsea like that it's like, oh yeah, I used to have a cup of tea with me.
Rob Green was very good on the BT number 1 program. But actually, to be fair to Rob Green, when Sky or BT put him on and asked him about goalkeeping, he's very, very good. And explain the technical. He's actually very good at explaining the technical aspects of being a goalkeeper. Rob just saying, she could beat you near post. He explains why things are the way they are.
He'll be a great goalkeeper.
Where the technical errors are, but in a quite an easy way for you to understand. You go, okay. Basically, something I'd go like, I wouldn't have known that. I can't hear that in the pub. That's a bit interesting. So I liked it.
Bejan in the chat there with good was Shay Given
or
Ben Foster.
Ben Foster
podcast as well.
Do you know Ben Foster's podcast? Actually, it's quite an interesting.
He did one with Kasper Schmeichel. That was an interesting listen.
I would say though, it does. You do see now why he didn't stay at United very long. Because he made it quite clear that I think he still quite like the old style of being a pro. And he'd be like, "Why you all get upset? Why you all get upset because you got beat? And why aren't we celebrating because we've won a game?" And obviously, United had to go. What you do, just go the next game. And he's like, "Oh no, you've got to lay off and have a laugh." So he admits maybe it was a little bit of immaturity from his game, but it was an interesting thing. So, right, before we go then, guys, anything you would like to say before we go?
Just enjoy the weekend. This is, a huge week coming up now. You've got Derby, Villarreal, Newcastle. It's quick turnaround of games. It's going to be bang, bang, bang. There's not going to be a post-match on Sunday. There's not going to be a post-match show straight after kickoff or after the final whistle on Sunday. It's just going to roll into the Fatback 4 on Sunday night.
Fatback 4 is you, Keith, Shawnee, and I think it's Emmett. Because Gav is still in.
Gav's still on his holidays over.
We'll still be Liverpool.
So he'll be a few pints under after the win, hopefully.
Yeah.
So hopefully, so will I be after the trophy lifting the win. So,
it's
they get the women to come with the men's team after you win the quad. Get their own bus for the trophy.
That'd be nice.
It's going to be a huge weekend as well. Huge weekend of sport, but can't wait for the derby. Smash them. Dish out proper receipts for
end the game season. In the first half, then make subs for the Villarreal game.
Yeah, just looking forward to it. And no nerves, no. Just want everyone to come out of that game healthy and a nice win. That'd suit me down to the ground.
Cool. Well, listen, Luke, Kev, thanks again for coming on. Obviously, we'll have you guys here next week. We might try. Yeah. We should try and get a guest on at some point, shouldn't we? We've been a bit lazy getting guests, haven't we? We should probably.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
I don't know who but we'll try. We'll try and
drag someone along.
Drag someone. If they don't want to come on, we'll just make them come on. Yeah. But listen, guys in the chat, if you can hit the like button and the subscribe button on your way out, it'd be most appreciated. But listen, there's 103 of you now in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. And look, the chat, as always, drives a lot of this. We enjoy it. And listen, once the show's over, jump into YouTube, leave a comment. If there's things you'd like us to talk about that we haven't covered, let us know. If there's things you like, let us know. If there's things you don't like, let us know. We're big boys. And then, look, the only way we'll learn is you tell us what you like and we'll see what we can do to improve it. But listen, take care of yourselves and look forward to seeing Kev and the guys on the Fatback 4 on Sunday. Up the Reds.